Well, Australia's retail environment is again front of mind for us today, like most days really. Official retail sales numbers came out and they still look pretty subdued overall. Lots of commentary around the pretty big fall that we saw in New South Wales, which has refreshed all the doubts about the broader spending growth across the country, given the downturn in the housing market, which is quite honestly still playing out.
Yeah, of course, but retail is far from down and out. I mean, sure, it's been thrown a curveball lately, but the future of retail innovation is still incredibly exciting and strong. Here to talk about tonight, we are joined by Jack Delosa, CEO and founder of The Entourage, and John Winning, CEO of The Winning Group. And it's a really good thing that we have you both in here because, you know, CEO of an online-focused retailer and somebody who spends a lot of time talking to really interesting entrepreneurs. So this whole idea of kind of opportunity in all of this doom and gloom in the retail space. John, I might start with you. Are you seeing anything really exciting come through the retail space that we're just kind of not really picking up on enough?
For me, I think it's the ones with the simplest model that look after the customer. For me, it's being in the retail sector, very much people talking about in-store and online. You can shop in-store and now online. And I think the ones that are making a hybrid there, where it's a seamless experience from a customer to take that online experience into store and vice versa, I think they're the ones that are the most interesting and exciting to me.
What's seamless? What does that mean?
So for Winning Appliances, for example, someone to be able to go online and create a project on our website, bring that into store, quote a project number to the sales consultant in store who's had nothing to do with them at all. And they can pull that up and go, oh, okay, I can see the 12 products that you've been looking at. Let me show you what they look like here. Maybe they chop and change in and out a dishwasher or an oven. They can then go home, speak with their partner, make more amendments to that order, come back to the store, and it's almost like this fluid experience that's happening in their living room and then back into the showroom.
But is that going to be the key in, say, 5 years, or will that just almost be...
I think something like that, probably we added with augmented reality, hopefully some artificial intelligence.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love all the stuff. Voice is going to be a huge one, I think. In the future, we're probably not going to have keyboards. You know, it'll all be phone and voice, and so that's not that far away. So it's quite exciting for retailers to have to think about what will that mean for us. We're just getting used to the computers, even though we might be 15 years in. But now we're going to have to get away from the computer and start to learn the microphone.
It's funny because we often talk of a lot of the news and the headlines about retail is a bit doom and gloom because of the way the economy looks a bit shaky. But we have so many really exciting stories about retail on this show. They're coming to us from overseas or examples at home. You speak to startups all the time and you mentor a lot of them. What are you seeing is just really exciting out there?
Yeah, well, I think John's answer is really interesting and really in line with my views as well, right? Like, yes, you know, AI and augmented reality is probably the next horizon, but on this horizon, you know, it's things like integrating offline and online. And so I think it's really important we realise there's a difference between leading edge and bleeding edge, right? And so for me, the interesting stuff in online retail right now is the leading edge stuff as opposed to AI or whatever that will come into fruition in the next sort of 3 to 5 years. Honestly, the best online businesses I've seen in the last 5 years are online fashion retailers. You know, they might be selling fast fashion for young females or young males or athletic fashion. But, you know, we've seen businesses come into the Entourage doing 10 grand a month, you know, going back probably 4 or 5 years that are today doing $100 million a year. And so they're growing to serious medium-sized companies, and they're not doing, you know, anything with AI or anything like that, but moving great products online in a really sound sense is a good way to build a good business. Yeah, that growth is amazing there. But also some of the kind of established retailers are trying some interesting things at the moment. You know, even in the last month or so, we've been hearing about David Jones trying out a shoe heaven on one of its floors, and then some other kind of...
sounded a bit like a gimmick.
Well,
they reckon it's...
I think these things are massive gimmicks. I mean, there's probably not even a staff member there to serve you.
Exciting for a day.
Well, I mean, they seem to be investing pretty hard
here. Welcome to shoe heaven. There's no God. There's no angels.
There's not even a customer service rep.
There's just a cloud of shoes. No one to sell you one.
Hey, sometimes heaven is no service reps. Eh? Think about that. That's the other problem with retail.
So not a big fan of this whole kind of entertainment while you shop type of thing that some of the bricks and mortar retailers are trying?
I like it, and we've looked at a few different things, and we think it's interesting. I mean, entertainment while you shop for us isn't yet augmented reality. We think the technology hasn't caught up with actually making it worthwhile or something that you would actually use to buy an oven. But guess what? Good old-fashioned cooking is. You know, if we can put on a cake or biscuits or maybe a rack of lamb over lunchtime and put a spread out in our, you know, with our culinary experts in our working kitchen at one of our Winning Appliances stores, and our customers can shop, smell the food, get inspired, ask a culinary expert, you know, how'd you cook that? Oh, we did it in a Gaggenau steam oven at 65 degrees for this amount of time. Then I think that's pretty inspiring and much more exciting for me at the moment than augmented reality is where it sits today.
Oh, there's some pretty exciting. We were talking about a little bit last night about some of the things coming to us from overseas that might, in the next few years, which our viewers would have heard. But yeah, you know, the idea of clicking something on the fridge and then the milk turns up from someone at the door 15 minutes later, the kind of stuff that's happening in the US already.
There is one interesting one. Samsung has the camera inside the fridge, so if you don't know if you've got milk left or not, you're on your phone. It's like the first use of technology in appliances I actually thought was quite cool, where you can click on your phone and go, oh, what's in my fridge? And you can see, oh, the milk is quite close. Right. Okay, I'll go and grab that.
I 100% need one of them.
How many beers have I got left? You know, I got my friends coming over, I'll go and get a six-pack.
I'd be looking at it on the couch, right? Like, I know it's probably designed for when you're at the grocery store, but I'd be sitting there going, what have I got? I don't want to get up unless it's something good.
Hey, that's good. All right.
Let's go.
Now, we've only got about 18 days left to buy Christmas presents, people, and plenty of us are worried about the budget. And here is one idea that we keep coming across, because we're doing all these, you know, don't have a financial hangover type of stories. And the idea of second-hand presents is one that keeps popping up for us. eBay reckons 2/3 of Australians say they would be happy to receive a second-hand gift. Do you guys actually think that is true, or is it still just a bit weird? What do you reckon? Second-hand gifts?
I am notorious for second-hand gifting.
Are you?
Really?
Now,
Is this re-gifting, or are you talking about buying somebody else's second-hand?
See,
Re-gifting, re-gifting. Yeah, there is a distinction there, I suppose, yeah.
are you transparent about it?
I'm
Like,
usually transparent. Because you get given a lot of stuff, right?
But the worst thing would be if someone found out and you didn't say, right?
That's why transparency does help. Yeah.
Some things are obvious though, yeah. Like, I think the vinyl records or something like that.
Great present.
Books, maybe. I read this, I think you'll love it.
Right.
What the world doesn't need, and this is probably weird from someone who sells brand new products to be saying, but the world doesn't need more manufactured products.
Yeah.
There is plenty here. It's not getting any larger. We're getting bigger as a population, and you know, as these products come out of China and the like, I think I bought last week for my nephew's first birthday, I bought him a ride-on car for $170.
Oh my God! And check out his Twitter account if you want to see a video of that.
It's like an electric car where my sister can sit there on a remote control and drive my nephew. And how do they manufacture that for $170? And when products become that kind of cool and that cheap, I think it's a real problem for the world and manufacturing. I'm big pro on the second hand.
Kids' toys are the worst. So chuckable, and yet, you know, just amass piles and piles and piles of them.
I reckon we should
give this to another kid, but you know, kids want to open a new present. It's just
maybe we have a 5-year stint where it's just second-hand re-gifting Christmases.
Well,
for a 5-year period.
It's interesting. You could look. We came across this because somebody said that it was a big money-saving technique. She buys her kids things like bikes that are, you know, off Gumtree, second-hand. Problem with that is, do you come off seeming like a bit of a cheapskate at Christmas time? I mean, this is the big problem. You don't
one thing, we have a large group of friends who we used to go to school with. There's about 20 of us that get together for Christmas, but we do it after Christmas, and the Secret Santa is a gift that you got given for Christmas that you don't want.
Perfect.
That's a good idea.
Great idea.
It's actually so fun because sometimes they're really expensive gifts, but it's like, you know, and you do the whole swap and you can do the whole steal. You know, there's different rules around Secret Santas, but you know, the stealing thing. Anyway, so yeah, I got rid of a shredder once, and my friend who's a lawyer loved her shredder.
There you go.
And equally, my husband got a pair of shoes that were
that's a win-win.
So that's my tip. Do it in
I think it's cool. I think it's cool to re-gift and give second-hand, as long as you're not doing it for the wrong reason. You're not trying to offload some. You know, I think I got it at Chris Kringle. It was at Dance Mums season 5 or something. Yeah, if I'm re-gifting that, I think someone might be onto me. Dance Mums season 5. I'm still trying to re-gift.
Now, who doesn't enjoy a trip down memory lane? An Aussie has unearthed one of the very first Pizza Hut menus. So we think, you know, looking back on time, this menu is from the 1970s. If you do get a look at the menu, it's pretty small print, but I'll let you know, it is mostly focused on all you can eat, meat-heavy meals, served with a side of beer, of course. A distinct lack of vegetarian, vegan, dairy-free or gluten-free options. A large pizza setting you back about $1.70 and the wine coming in at $2. Chris, what stood out to you on that one?
Well, I kind of thought that $1.70 is actually, I mean, right now you can get, I don't want to do a big plug for Domino's, but they're doing pizzas for $5. So what's the inflation on that? And, you know,
about the same as a fridge or a washing machine. I think they've gone down in
unbelievable.
In the last 2 decades,
but
I think
still,
they're cheaper than they were.
It was interesting to see how it was just meat, pizza, don't tell me about your dietary requirements, I don't want to know. Yeah, really interesting. What about you guys?
Salad with just chicken. A little bit of lettuce.
That's right, it was potato salad.
Yeah, potato salad.
Yeah, the salad was coleslaw or potato salad or beans.
Yeah.
That was it. There was no like fancy salads in there.
Jack, looking at that menu, what did you think?
I think it's a real sign of the times, right? I think it's a hugely positive trend, to be honest. I think for decades, you know, largely in the Western world, we were completely not conscious about what we were putting in our bodies, and now we are slightly more so. I think it's still only the beginning of, you know, us sort of eating more healthy and being more conscious about what we put in our bodies. But it's got to be a good trend. I mean, I loved the old Pizza Hut as much as anybody. I tell you what I loved. I loved the all-you-can-eat dessert. Oh. Because I'd eat like a slice of pizza and then straight to the dessert, and I'd just be done.
Take them to town on the dessert.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can almost still smell those all-you-can-eat Pizza Hut dine-in. You can almost
It hasn't
smell
gotten much better in America. I think that Taco Bell have 99-cent tacos.
Oh, they're coming here too.
I have not tried one, but I've seen plenty of ads for them in America, and there's plenty of people queuing up for them over there.
Did it kind of make you, you know, think back to, I don't know, when you were a kid and walking into any of this memory lane stuff?
I wasn't around in the 70s when that menu was created. However, I was sort of thinking about it and thinking, what was it that, you know, is that memory for me? The only thing I can think is my dad's voice going, you used to be able to get this for $2 bob, you used to be able to get that for $2 bob. I don't even know what $2 bob is. Like, is that $2? Or is it before my time? Are they trading bobs? Or it's
So
what is $2 bob? I don't even know. That's all I can think is my dad always telling me, oh, I used to be able to get this for $2 bob or this for whatever it might have been.
Yep. Jack, any thoughts?
I think $2 bob is 20 cents. I'm not sure. I wasn't born in the 70s either.
Yeah, no, it's so good.
Yeah, I mean, it brings back nostalgic memory. I think it was a great thing back then to be eating all the pizza and all the dessert. But I do like that we as a society have become slightly more health conscious, and I hope that trend continues.
Yeah, just to your point, I remember in the early 2000s going into Macca's and they having something on the menu. I don't know why they called it this, and the link is just not there at all, but they called it a footy burger. It was essentially a triple quarter pounder. Ooh. I mean, that is, maybe it's because it weighed this.
It's a 3/4 pounder.
Like, I remember being like 12 years old, being like, yep, going for it. Like, unbelievable.
Well, this is what scares me, and like honestly is, you know, you drive past a restaurant like the one that we're talking about, or other fast food restaurants, and you know, there's 8-year-old kids in there eating huge meals and drinking, you know, huge soft drink. I really think that we don't realise the amount of damage we're doing to human beings with nutrition these days. So I think anything we can do to improve it's a good thing.
Sugar's the new smoking.
Yeah, maybe worse.
Yeah,
right?
everything's the new smoking.
They do say that, yeah.
Facebook's the new smoking.
Sitting's the new smoking.
Facebook is definitely the new smoking.
Oh, I should talk about that next time. Thank you, guys. Really fun as always. Appreciate it.